And community members, we are very, very grateful to have you join here at this very momentous moment. This is the elevation of Cord, War Master Cord, Witch Doctor Cord, to Master Chronicler in the Chroniclers Guild, one of the 3 guilds of Belegarth. This is the very first elevation to the master level in the Chroniclers Guild, and we are very delighted to have you here, Cord. So I want to give you some background. I am Sir Juggernaut the Bard. Very happy to be here at Equinox. The guilds were created, how long ago would you say? Long time ago, 10 years ago, with 3 major focuses. There's the Seneschal's Guild, recognizing outstanding achievement and mastery in leadership, event leadership, realm leadership. And then there's the Artificers Guild, which recognizes mastery in craftsmanship, weapons, leather, jewelry, pretty broad variety of topics. And last, there's the Chroniclers Guild, whose aim is to capture our lore, our history, our culture, and the way that we express ourselves to each other at these events, and in the sport. And in my opinion, very biased, the Chroniclers Guild is the richest guild. What separates us from some of our older, more, I would say, seasoned competing combat groups, and obviously the one that's most special to me is the Bard. So, in order to become elevated as a master in any of the guilds, you either start as an apprentice, and then you pair with someone, or the next level would be journeyman, and the final level is master. But in some cases where we have a member who has done so much work independently, they may apply for mastership. And that process is not easy. Antoinette will speak more about that process. But there is a pretty large submission that you have to put forth that documents the years of work and achievement that you've been able to get. And Cord has done that. Now I want to speak, and we have a couple of people who would like to speak about different parts of Cord's journey.
Wait. Why do this? Or you twist my arm down?
We have forced these people.
I see how it is.
Yeah, see how it is.
Gorg is voluntarily here. I am voluntarily here.
We are not.
They were forced.
Yes. We also have some words I'm going to read from Sir Parr, who could not make it to Equinox. And we'll read those as well. So let you know, and then we'll present the Stole of Masterhood to Master Witch Doctor Cord. So I want to say a few words. I met Cord sort of on my second journey in Belegarth in Norcalia. And when we were forming those sort of like beginning realms, and I worked with Cord from the very beginning. He was just a little lad, and very scrappy person, great fighter, eventually. And
Not in the beginning.
one thing that we always bonded on with all of our classic Norcalia events was singing around main fire, singing at a large, amazing jugger hut, and drums and music and storytelling. And Cord has always been there, right there with me, promoting that culture, teaching people to sing, getting them to do dances, getting them involved in owning their characters, the backstory of their characters, hosting live events to help people who maybe didn't feel like the fighting field was their first place that they felt like they belonged, but still wanted to be part of the community so they still have the feeling of belonging. And Cord has been someone who I think has been huge in that, and an honor to be my friend. I've known him, since those Norcalia days, before the Norcalia days, and it is an honor for me to see you have grown so far, and wonderful to see you back in faraway lands. Love you so much.
Nice.
I am a member of the Chroniclers Guild and tonight, but I do want to turn it over to Sir Gorg, who wants to speak about sort of this second part of Cord's life that I have not really been a part of since he came here.
Hi, Gorg.
Hello. I've created a script to kind of get me back on track after I inevitably tear up. I was asked if my lips get in the way, I can mimic a human and take this off. I was asked to speak here today in celebration of the recognition of War Master Cord as the Master Chronicler. This is a period that represents the highest honor within the Chroniclers Guild, which aims to maintain and preserve the history and culture of Belegarth, specifically for Cord and storytelling. I've known of Cord for many years through the business and Facebook perusing, but an entire country separate us as he was in Cali and myself in Florida. At that time, it was not in the cards for us to cross paths, but as fate would have it, he would move to my hometown many years later. Cord came at exactly the right time, not only for us, but for him as well. For through some players having moved out of town, and just life happening, the realm of the ancient wars needed help. Little did we know a war master was sent by Belegarth to aid in the revival of the once great realm. Of the once great realm. You see, Cord is also a war master, a drop pod, someone trained to start or revive a realm anywhere in the world. And Belegarth saw fit to send us this aid. Cord needed a purpose through life and moving and hardships. Cord had wondered if there was still a place for him in this game. And boy, did he find it. Cord needed more stories. Since then, it's already happening. Since then, with the aid of bourbon, they have rebuilt the realm and now host a dozen or so more fighters every week. A lot of them new. They have set up realm trials, a thing we never had in the past. And even host smaller midweek practices on occasion. They took a realm gasping for air and gave it GPR, Goblin Pulmonary Resuscitation. And Cord has taken bourbon under his wing as his apprentice, and the fire I've seen in bourbon has never shined as bright. Amen. Cord inspires me. I met Cord officially within the past couple of years, and we have deepened our relationship within the past year. I'm glad that we have. As I've had the good fortune to get to know this man, I found we are more alike than I would have ever guessed. You see, Cord is a storyteller, one of the best there is. He takes the fights and times that we have at events and online and transforms them into lore, into unique tales of prowess, genesis, origin stories, conflict, overcoming. He gives reason to the rhyme. You see, much like D&D and any other tabletop game we play, without the story, aren't we all just rolling dice for no reason? What fun is that? And what story would be there to tell, or to be worth remembering? We are similar in many ways because the main driving force behind the things I continue to do is I aim to facilitate memories being made. Hero moments happening on the field, ferocious swordplay combined with time spent with friends, and our youth not being wasted. Rest time spent in camp around a fire or a barrel of spirit. Even time spent with family as they grow. I am in the business of making memories. Cord is in the business of writing those memories down. Giving them flavor, telling them. He inspires others to take part or simply just remember all the good times we've had. He brings life and spice to otherwise run-of-the-mill red versus blue go fight. Cord is unique in the fact that if he is on both ends of these tales, that he helps create the means in which to act them out, and then masterfully pens the inscriptions upon the tablets and retells their happenings again. I cannot express the honor I feel to be standing before this man in any capacity, but to be able to be one of the few who gets to honor this elevation into a much overdue masterhood. And one of the things he is most passionate about in life is surreal, unexpected, and brings me great joy. And though you may be 5'8", today you may as well be 8'5". Stand tall, and thank you, Cord, War Master, Master of the Pen and Voice, and Master of the Chroniclers.
Thank you.
That was really good.
I had no idea.
I didn't know you could speak like that, Gordon.
We will now hear from Antoinette.
Dragoon!
Dragoon Antoinette, the Chroniclers board of directors.
No, that's his job. I'm the guild.
You're my sister.
I'm
Guild
the
master.
guild chairperson for the Central Guild.
Yeah.
And so, like Draggy said, there's two ways to go from apprentice to master or straight to master in the guild. The Chroniclers Guild was built after the other two because archive saw a hole because yes, photography is an art, yes, videography is an art, but there's also a lot of skill behind that art that we weren't recognizing. The hours put into editing all of those photos and videos, and the amount of research and trying to track down people who are retired who probably don't have the same communication tools we have because they're old and they don't use Facebook or what have you. All of those things that went into finding and chronicling all of that information. And so we started the Chroniclers Guild. And then archive sort of had life happen and it sort of fell off. We had a chairperson, they moved to the other side of the world, literally, and I went, hey Cord, do you want to do this thing because I can't do both these things? And by can't, I mean I really could, but I don't want to. Also should, because they would yell. And so he went, okay, cool, let's do this thing. And now we actually have people, and we're connecting apprentices with mentors and elevating Cord, and then Juggy, and then I don't know who's happening after that. Clint somewhere. One of my apprentices was somewhere, I don't know where they went. But we now have people. Well, the other one, I have two now. Things are happening now when they weren't. And that's also pushed the other two guilds to start doing things. So, like, the Centrals Guild actually talks to each other now when I ask them a question, and not just like, hey, buttheads, answer the goddamn post. Like, they've actually started to proactively ask their own questions, which is great. And so that's, Cord didn't apprentice to anyone. He went, okay, I want to do this thing, but it would be awkward for me to apprentice to me, essentially, because that would have been what it was. And I went, okay, well, pick a project, do the project, hand it in, and we'll vote, because that's how it happens. And that's what he did. And Cord exemplifies what it means to bring history to life. The work he did on his master's project combines decades worth of social history of our community. While I know Cord loves oral storytelling traditions, having this written down means that people who aren't here, or who aren't in Florida, or who don't get to see Cord at events, are going to get to experience that monster growth story. People who don't know where monsterdom in their area came from are going to be able to find that out. The project was massive. Cord spent hours searching for and interviewing members of a community who are long since retired, who may or may not have forms of communication that we're used to using. So, like, some people don't have Facebook or Instagram, and so finding those people was hard. One of them sitting on the ground over here. And Cord's work and dedication to that progress resulted in something the Chroniclers Guild voted on and decided, or the mentors that are filling up our master spots right now, decided was master level lore and history keeping. He did an amazing job, and it is an amazing poem. Probably would be considered an epic poem, as it's huge, in creating that story of where monsterdom came from, how it grew from where it started into different areas, including my own up in the middle of the icy tundra, where there are more monsters than humans now. I don't particularly agree with that, but okay.
Hey,
doesn't make me a monster.
Alright, Zelda, beat me up.
So when this one decided to say, hey, you should talk about Cord and War Masters and whatnot, just give a short speech. And reminisce. And it's like, but Cord's always been short, so that was easy. I've known Cord for God forever.
12 years.
Yeah. When he was the tiny boy.
I did. And then I lost it, and I put it back on.
I've watched him grow from just a kid that we worked jumping together for a number of years, and then blossomed, and when Sumatai decided that he wanted to go down our own path of monsterdom, really took it off. And now, Cord doesn't just embody what a war master is. Just somebody who can go and smash on the field and is good at making war. He's a master of war. But he also makes you want to do it. I don't know of anybody else who's like, will just post randomly on the internet and be like, hey, I want to talk about Goblin story time. It's gonna be at this time. Come listen. And if you don't listen to those, missing out. Or ask him questions whenever he wants, and have him ask you random ass questions. Great fun. It's great fun. He makes you want to be a part of the culture. You want to be part of the group, and why you want to be here. You want to come meet him and understand who he is and why he's here. Why do you keep doing it? Why and why and why?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you can effectively use an automaton as a war tool.
Yeah. Embodies why you want to be here. I come because I want to see him. I want to be around him. He draws people in. He knows how to make this be fun and remind us that this is a game, but it doesn't have. But it can be more than that. It's not just rolling dice on the field. You want to be part of it, and he draws that out. He writes it down. He's drawn the War Masters out from more than just I can take you over.
He can, by the way.
And has.
Many times.
To, well, what does it mean? What does it mean? You'll always see me in red. Because an orc, red goes, despite the Warhammer. There was Warhammer already here. Red goes fast. My sword is red. I wear red. I am fast. Why? Because he wanted me to. He asked me why. Why do you do that? I'm always proud to be challenged on like, oh yeah, I don't embody a monster.
He does. Just doesn't look like it.
Yeah. He challenges, he draws, and he attracts. All of you are sitting here, forcibly, some of you.
I got paid. We're getting paid?
No, I didn't pay nobody. That was a bribe, not mine.
You're all here because he's here. I'm proud of you.
Just gonna turn around, Jai. That would be appropriate. Yes, God. Talk. Thank you, buddy.
We'll now read our final statement from Sir Parr, who is also on the Guild Master. History is the greatest renewable resource that any culture has. It serves as a common foundation and a rallying point when we need to be united against outsiders. If looked at objectively, our common history professor here, contains great lessons of both triumph and defeat. History is community's best educator, a buffer between us and our greatest mistakes. The roadmap of our shared future is written in the paths of our collective past. If history is our greatest resource, then stories are our greatest weapon. A wise nobleman once said, "It is not armies, gold, or flags that unites people, but stories." There's nothing in the world more powerful than a good story. Nothing can stop it. No enemy can defeat it. Stories are how we come to terms with our history. In the telling, our past is remembered, our wrongs righted, and our very being is transformed from more than mere mortals into ideas. We become symbols for our community. As a man, or in Court's case, a goblin, we are but flesh and blood. We can be ignored, we can be destroyed, but as symbols, we can be incorruptible, we can be everlasting. Court has wandered many paths and earned many accolades. He was wandered through shadows, sat at the foot of the volcano, and delved into the deepest swamps. He has been transformed by his gods and given power and title to wield in their name. Over his wanderings, Cord has come to realize the power of history and the sharp, unbreaking blade of story. Cord wields these like a surgeon, removing maladies and healing the community. It is fitting then that we name him our first master of our youngest guild, that we place upon his shoulders the hooded mantle and place in his hands the caretaking of our stories. For who else could use them with such God's ordained skill? Cord, these last words are for you, but I say them here publicly. You have been given honors and awards before, but always they were on someone else's path. Here now, with Belegarth's history as your guide, you forge a clean path. Over hill, around vast waters, and through densest forest, you must now go and take the light of our collective experience with you. This is a task you are well suited for. I will meet you out there in the dark, and I know that I only need look for your light. Sir Par Merton, 16th Knight of the Highlands of Chaos, Master Seneschal and Vice Chair of the Seneschal Guild Council. I hope you can all join us in supporting Cord in this elevation. Support him with your stories, your songs, your contributions. And with that, I invite Dragoon Antoinette to place the symbol of masterhood upon your shoulders. And you are thus elevated Master Cord of the Chroniclers Guild.
Unsurprisingly, I have words. First of all, Kadeen, perfect. Zeldrin, I love you. Antoinette, you're fantastic. Why do you look so fucking cool, Gord? Since I was 16 years old, I have looked up to you. The fact that I get to stand here now and do what I'm about to do, and you're here, makes all the shit I've been through for the last 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, life, worth it. If you are willing, I would like to perform for you.
Yes.
I'd like you all to hear what my project was. Because 30 years ago, at this, sorry kids, fucking event, Monsterdom was born. And I want you to know how it walked, one step at a time, from here, and folk like you, to a weird motherfucker in California who grew up in Hawaii, and now has Mormon people that I work for calling me the Goblin. This is real. Okay? So bear with me because I might be shaky. This is a project of a lifetime, and I hope Equinox and the Great Tree enjoys its own history. 33 stanza, O history, in common, you guys can understand it, by Dot Cord T. Goblins. 1. Gather round the fire. The sands have a story to sing, a tale not to be forgotten, for it has truth to bring. For many, many moons in Belegarth lore we thrive, impossible to miss. In our tales we survive, and still do, I wager, through battle and history, shading the game from mediocrity to misery. It's not nights, sorry, nor the tournaments, good wins, or even the guilds, I know. Not the fighters, their garb, nor the sweat that we spill. It's a spark, it's a reminder, it's a counterculture's will. I speak of monsterdom, a concept so old many cannot imagine the game without it, or so I am told. From small seeds, every tree has grown. Monsterdom's story, uniquely our own, by passionate souls like yours and mine. Stories that endure through the sands of time. It started as a small tree, a small seed. From small seeds, every tree has grown. It started as a small seed growing into a strong tree, changing the course of our history. And that seed took root first in Durgee, the year 93. Some young friends watched knights ruling the area. A kobold named Treplak deemed it hysteria. The knights raged on until an orc declared, "No men honor you, knave, if you dare." They squared to fight, no knight can ignore. But the battle was brief, the orc had more for a friend who snuck up and fired at the knight. "What is honor?" it asked, ending the fight. The friends were elated by the joy they had witnessed. Jesters and tricksters, laughter their business. The orcs' names, it is said, were Grim, Songtoy Wei, Kubak, and Wasad, their pranks on display. Whew. And so it was, friends, And so it was that the friends shed disguises worn. From those shadows, the dead river goblin Skrill was born. Israth was first, Goblin King so bold. Then came Malavan, mushroom eater of old. Next was Scrade, Sifu's chosen, a witch doctor so wise. And Kudzu, the Urkadine, with Scribbit's rage in his eyes. And finally, with 3 X's, finally Blix with 3 X's, fierce and clever. He murdered Romans for fun and laughter forever. The first Skrill grew, with Smudge and Snotbelly there. Monsters were few, their enemies everywhere. Long before fame found these goblins' names, they were just kids playing a game. The sapling then grew. As seeds were spread from the year 99 to 01, the roots were fed. Scrade moved to Mordor's high mountains. With monsterdom in hand, her influence birthed Shrat, the first western kobold in the land. A seed was planted deep in Black Tundra's cold, where stories of monsters and legends waited untold. Sumatai, from Dur Damarian to the northwest he roamed. High in the steppes of the damned, his realm he calls home, in the high village of Stygia, where legends, to this day, many monsters, their skills they hone, in the high village of Stygia, where legends are grown. Snotbelly, moved north to Wolfpack and Numenor, bringing a small tide of green that spread forevermore. It infected the area, never to depart, a lasting mark of monsterdom, rooted from the start. The sapling never stopped growing in the land of Dirty.
Please don't kill yourself.
I won't, but I have to find my place.
The tree made him do it.
It's true. The sapling never stopped growing in the land of Dirty, its roots spreading wide, nurtured by history. With Mordeth, Nanga was never alone, and the song of Marjak sunk deep into bone. Lobo, calling the moon from the moon, opened the portal, spelling chaos's doom. No lizards, you know why. Though the seeds had been planted, monsterdom was still small. There weren't really many monsters at all. But that changed with the third growth cycle, which turned the sapling into a tall tree. As the roots reached Eriador, Nan Belegorn, and Tir Asleen, you see, many great monsters were born between the years of 2001 and 2003. Bakhdar, Kazi, Gorlok, and more, Gult and Ulvat made no ogres nomadic to the core. An alliance between Hellhammer and Horde was proclaimed. Fear them or praise them in Thoragonia's name. The armies of evil grew large and bold. Many trials were taken, like yours. Their stories told. Witch doctors, headhunters, Kadines galore. It was an explosion of monsterdom in Nan Belegorn. The impact of Wolfpack cannot be forgot, for the seeds planted by Snotbelly were not rot. They helped feed the roots and extend their reach, ensuring the seeds would be able to preach. In 03 and 04, from Nan Belegorn's gates they poured. Ogres, monsters, and tales galore. They raided the green highlands of Chaos Wars. Like rain they fell, watering seeds planted before. Ickis and Shrat, seeds of yore, burst forth from the ground on the canopy floor. Pockshaw, Dop, Forkbeard, support him if you can, and Magnus were all born in the shades of this madness. Into the lowlands, the trees' shade spread wide. Tej and Togur, the swamp's new tide. In 06 and 07, Horde's Hordetane led, Marjak's song echoed fierce words they said. Israth and Vihil, shaping the mire, in the lowlands their tales did inspire. The tree withered in the beginning of 10, for stagnation and rot had come up again. Those who could have taken up the mantle followed the light, for lime is addictive to those with might. But trust me, with roots so deep, it takes more than a storm to knock this tree from its feet. In early 12, as the tree's shade reached the Pacific shore, it bathed the coast of Ash in tales of yore. Gorlok and Kralos, ogres strong and bold. Rated battle for the ring, as the stories foretold. Monsters gathered, rotten and dagger among. And I, your narrator, under the sickle moon sung. Coast to coast, the shadows of the great canopy traveled, growing into a tree so wild it could not be handled. It crossed borders and ventured far north, where the tundra is frozen, too cold for a dwarf. There, a cold hardy seed planted its roots, slowly carving its way into the frozen ground, deep below your boots. With the canopy that size, an explosion of life is inevitable. From 14 to 17, the age of the Grick was questionable. The gates of old had finally cracked. The Dar, Siren, Deep One came into being. Whack. This era was marked by growth and change. Many monsters were born, and nothing would ever be the same. For it seemed out west that monsters outnumbered Gricks, and the table had flipped. Did counterculture become the culture, or was it clear that having fun is more important than winning? I fear. The Great Plague raged from 20 to 23, spelling the end of the game for many. Yet from the shadows, old tales found light, proving the age of monsters was in sight. Thus, it comes as no surprise to me that the trolls have returned, claiming the age to be. Codite, up north, calls many to his flag, ready to march forth with a mighty brag. The tree of monsterdom now covers the game. What started as a small seed grew into fame. In the hearts of young friends, it began to expand, becoming a living history as old as I am. Stories with time grow into legends and myths. What was once told fire-lit now deeply persists, with rippling effects, reminding us true that the stories live on because of me and all of you. So, listen well to the song the sands sing and the stories I tell. Remember the importance of friends, fun, and laughter. Don't take yourself so fucking seriously. We all have things to master. It's just a game. And also, it's not. And that is the beauty of what we've got. It's 30 years old, this monsterdom thing. I cannot wait to see what the future will bring. Thank you. Woo! Equinox for making this amazing subculture. Woo!
Fighters to the field. Fighters good.
Next level.